Back on the Marching to Madness College Basketball Podcast this afternoon with Pacific Tigers head coach Leonard Perry, who saw his Tigers win 6 out of 7 to move to 10-9. They've had a tough pair of losses of late to two good teams in San Francisco and Santa Clara, but Gonzaga is up next at the Alex Spanos Center. Coach, welcome in.
Thank you kindly. Thank you, Ken. Thanks for having us.
Oh, yeah, glad to have you, glad to have you. You know, as we look at your team, you know, it's been improvement overall over this year, you know, from the 21-22 season to the 22-23. What are some things you did to lay the foundation to get the Tigers rolling forward?
Well, we added quite a few pieces. We've added 8 new players and 9 if we count Greg Outlaw, who was coming back off an ACL injury. So it's like adding a new player. And we knew it would take time, but, we wanted to add some kids that had a natural feel for the game, which would speed up your learning curve in terms of being able to execute what you're doing offensively. We needed to be able to score the ball, and we added guys that could get the ball up the floor and move it around a little bit, to keep defenses honest and be able to shoot the ball.
As you look at the defensive end of the floor right now, what are the keys to holding teams? I know you want to hold them to less of an average and less point production as well.
Well, we struggled last night, but for the most part, we have been defending pretty well. I mean, we were holding teams right around 44% from the field and the low 30s from the three. And, a lot of it, Ken, has got to do with toughness and effort. Guys that'll get after it defensively, guys that'll make the opposition put it on the floor. And then when they do put it on the floor, be determined to stay in between them and the basket and force teams to score over us. But the area that we've got to continually improve on is rebounding. So we're getting the misses, but we're not rebounding at a rate we need to close the possession.
Sure. Now, you have a really balanced offense. You have 6 Tigers averaging from 8.4 points to 11.7 points per game. So discuss your offensive attack that you have, and you're able to embody so much balance in your scoring.
Well, Ken, you have to have guys that can play, and we have guys that can play, and on any given night, any of those guys can get you for 20. Like we've got about 8 or 9 guys on a given night. When it's their night and they got it cooking, they can get you for anywhere between 15 to 19 points. It can happen. It can turn, at the drop of a dime, and that's kind of hard to prepare for if you're the opposition, because you're trying to key on 1, 2, 3 guys, and our 5 through 9, on a given night can jump up and have a really big night. So we feel like, that depth helps our team. That's part of our identity. And we need those guys. We need them to be able to come in and produce for us.
Coach, you got a kid, Keylon Boone, is your leading scorer, and he also shoots, I noticed, more threes than he attempts twos.
He does. It's not quite by design, but we got to take what the defense gives us. I'd like to see him take a few more inside the arc. He kind of parks it out there, and we've got guards that can play. And when we turn the corner and he sets ball screens, if you got 2 guys guarding one, we're gonna throw back to him. He's wide open. He's got a real knack for shooting the basketball. He can put the ball in the basket, and we want him being aggressive. When he's open, we want him to shoot it, and he does a good job with it. He's a good kid and he plays really hard, and we enjoy having him. He's a good fit for our program.
I've noticed you got depth at guard, lots of it. Do you ever go with a 4 guard or even a 5 guard offense?
Well, it is a five guard offense.
Yeah.
Our 4-5s are really threes. So
Mhm.
Keelan is really a three. But we play him at the five, and a lot of times it's forced teams to have to match up with us. As of late, teams have left their bigs in there, but when Keelan's on, they'll have to take him out because they don't match up well. Um, so that's kind of by design. Looks a little bit like the Warriors when Draymond Green is in there. We're not quite as tough as Draymond, but we can stretch the floor that way and get bigs that have to come out and leave the basket and guard on the perimeter. Makes it tough for them. So we are playing with five guards right now. As we speak, those are all guards. They're all perimeter guys. So we like to get the ball reverse from side to side, play as fast as we can, put defenses in a situation where if they switch, we take advantage of it. Our guards can go by their bigs. We can draw and kick and get each other open shots.
Luke Avdilovich shoots 57.5% from three. Talk about how he's been a tough matchup. I mean, you put those five guards out there, you're gonna have a couple potentially of situations where the dribble drive is going to be in play for you, which means you can spot up more shooters.
Well, he's one of the best shooters in America, bar none. Over his career, he's one of the best shooters that's ever played in NCAA. When you stack up his field goal percentage, his 3-point field goal percentage, we do everything we can to try to get him open looks. We want him shooting the basketball anytime we can. Obviously, defenses are scouting and trying to take some things away, but I'm constantly thinking of ways we could get him open. And our team trusts him. Like when he's open, we want him shooting from anywhere because he usually takes really good shots. And if his feet are set, you can count it. You can go ahead and order breakfast, lunch, or dinner because you know what's coming. He's one of the best shooters I've ever been around.
Coach, you got Tyler Beard. He transferred over from Georgetown, and he's a solid playmaker. And I noticed his scoring has picked up for you guys.
Yeah, it has. That happens, kid. Sometimes when kids leave a situation that it may not have been right for them for whatever reasons, and they come to a new place and they get an opportunity. And they're able to take advantage of it. We put him out there every night, and he can make threes. He can come off ball screens. He can run our team, and he's done a good job of that. We need him. He's a big part of what we're doing. We're glad to have him.
The implementation of the three ball, you make 8.7 per game. You're going to see a lot more guys match up on you rather than take off because all it takes is that perimeter pass to open guy on the other side of the floor, and you're going to have a good chance to score.
Well, we'd like to get a stop. Well, first of all, we'd like to stop the opposition from scoring. And when we do that, Ken, we want to get the ball up the floor as fast as we can. That's where mistakes usually happen. When you're playing in transition, it's not scripted. You don't know who's guarding who. Guys are trying to get matched up, and we're actually into a secondary offense. The minute we get the stop and we're pushing it, we're into something. And we know what we're looking for. We got quick pin downs. We got DHOs. We got quick flares to get the ball reversed and then coming right back to our shooters. And then if you do get back and you close out to us, we got guys that can put it on the floor and go past you and put you in, a sticky situation where if you come off and help with draw and kick, and those are good shots for us.
Coach, as you look at last night's loss to San Francisco, how do you upgrade the shooting in a game in one practice, I guess, before you go against Gonzaga tomorrow night?
Well, they're going to come in here and they'll be a little bit on edge. Gonzaga will. It's not often they lose in this league, so they'll be madder than a hornet's nest when they come in here. I don't know that you can. There's any magic you can do in 36 hours, Ken. We just got to remind our kids of what they do well and how hard they have to play. And if we take care of the ball and execute our offense the way we're capable of and get stops, I like what we're doing. And I think, some of those looks that we got last night that didn't go in, I think they'll go in.
Mhm. And we talk about that Gonzaga loss. Do you feel like there are more challengers and competitors in the WCC this season?
Yeah, I think the league has got a lot of teams top to bottom.
Mhm.
I think Pepperdine, the Lewis kid is an NBA player. He'll be a first-round pick. And
Sure.
they're struggling right now. So that's how talented the league is. Gonzaga is Gonzaga. It's a national brand. They're playing for
Mhm.
national championships every year. But the teams that people don't talk about enough are St. Mary's and Santa Clara, two really good teams in our league. BYU is, everybody knows it's a team that's perennially really good. But St. Mary's is a top 25 team in the country, and Santa Clara is really good. They're a really good team. But LMU and what they did, if you look at the preseason and how well they played, it's not that big of a surprise to us. That's a team that we were fortunate enough to be able to beat in the second game of the year. And, they go and do what they did at Gonzaga last night. That tells you how good our league is. It's a feast or famine league, and we beat up on each other. But the league from top to bottom is really good, and you can take it, as you've seen in the preseason. Teams from our league, they can go to any conference in America and win. And I've been in a lot of big conferences throughout my tenure, the Big 12 being one of them. And you take our top teams, they will beat any one of those teams anywhere on any given day.
Sure. Last question, Coach. We look at analytics in all sports. What statistics, whether it be offensively or defensively, what do you look at most?
I look right now with our team. I look at rebound margin. The rebound margin is what's killing us. Against Santa Clara, we gave up 25 second chance points. Last night we got out rebounded 31-39. The rebound, that's the one thing that I'm really paying attention to now, that we're trying to find the right combination of guys to get out there that'll help us close that gap. Because I truly believe if we close that gap, that means we're limiting teams to one shot per possession. And if we do that, that puts us in our transition game, which makes us extremely dangerous. That's where we're really good, when we're running. And you can't run when you're taking it out of the net. And that's what's happening to us, and that's the thing that we're locked in on.
Coach Leonard Perry, ladies and gentlemen, the Pacific Tigers in the West Coast Conference, one of my favorites in the game. Coach, it's a pleasure talking to you. A really interesting conversation, and I hope we can do this again at some point.
Anytime, Ken. Thanks for having me.